What's up, Taiwan? I'm Erika Liu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. China's National Security Ministry is accusing Taiwan of carrying out cyber attacks against China, Hong Kong, and Macau. It says a hacking group called Anonymous 64 belongs to Taiwan's cyber warfare wing, and it's opened a case against 3 of the ring's members. Louise Watt reports.
China says it's investigating these 2 men and 1 woman who work for Taiwan's cyber warfare unit over their alleged involvement in a hacking group targeting China. The country's National Security Ministry says the group, called Anonymous 64, has sought to put out content that attacks China's political system and policies. On the social platform X, the apparent group says it successfully attacked university, media and other websites in China, uploading posts that liken Chinese President Xi Jinping to an emperor and that also mention Tibet, both sensitive subjects in China. Taiwan's cyber warfare unit has refuted China's accusations that it's behind the group.
针对陆媒指控我们国军亚骇客公路，我们所属的网络战联队是负责执行国防资讯及网络安全维护等任务。那对于陆方的指控的内容并非事实。
Taiwan's cyber warfare unit says it's China that is working to disrupt Taiwan with cyber attacks, as well as sending military planes and ships close to the island that it claims sovereignty over. Analysts say the timing of the allegations is noteworthy, coming soon after China announced that what it calls extreme Taiwan independence supporters could face the death penalty.
This is the very first case ever since China rolled out a new set of legal guidelines earlier this year, targeting the die-hard Taiwan separatists. So beneath the accusation of Taiwan cyber attacks, this is a legal war waged by China against Taiwan to intimidate Taiwan people.
China has already labelled some key government officials as die-hard separatists. And while China does not have any jurisdiction over Taiwan, cases like this one suggest it could be experimenting with new ways to pressure Taiwan. Justin Wu and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's military has revealed new details about its drone development program. Defense Ministry said on social media that the country has been acquiring more micro and attack drones in the last few years. It also revealed a new first-person view drone it's developing. The military says Taiwan will acquire over 3,000 microdrones and 1,000 loitering munitions, also known as suicide drones. The UK's Financial Times reported last week that Taiwan and the US are exploring ways to develop a drone supply chain that doesn't rely on China. Taiwan's TSMC and South Korea's Samsung are reportedly looking to the Middle East to expand their chip-making operations. According to Wall Street Journal, top executives from both giants visited the UAE recently to look at possible investments. TaiwanPlus reached out to TSMC for comment. The company says it's always open to discussing how to develop the industry, but says it has no new investment plans at the time. For more on the potential chip opportunities in the Middle East, Joyce Tseng spoke with Dan Hutcherson, Vice Chair of chip market analysis firm TIC Insights.
Both TSMC and Samsung are reportedly looking into the United Arab Emirates as a possible place for more chip factories. Do you think that the UAE would be a good investment?
The issue for the UAE, it comes down to where do they get the labor, the technical side of the labor, as well as where do they get the water. I am not optimistic in such an investment. And because you have to desalinate the water, it's incredibly expensive water. It's like running your fab with Evian water. The one caveat to that is that if you go into those countries, what you see is the countries are often running with a lot of Indian labor. That is a possibility, especially now that Modi wants to build fabs. The biggest problem is it's not the best place to build a factory. They do have one advantage, and that is they have a lot of solar power, but these factories have to run 7/24. So, when the sun goes down, you kind of lose that advantage.
We've been following TSMC's ongoing expansion projects in the US, Japan, and Germany. What do you see as the biggest challenges for TSMC in terms of additional opportunities for investment?
The issue that they face, though, is the geopolitical issue of everybody wanting them. You know, they're the prom queen in the semiconductor industry, and everybody wants to date them, everybody wants to dance with them, and they can only have so many partners. And at the same time, for TSMC, you know, they're looking to have customers anywhere in the world that will design chips to run on their fabs where their fabs are, as opposed to building a fab somewhere. So when someone like the UAE comes knocking on their door, for them, especially now since they're doing the US, Japan, and Germany, it's a real challenge for them going forward to start to add other places in, but everybody wants them, you know, and so now they have to play this geopolitical issue of being polite and trying to figure out how do they not upset the whole world and make them mad at them, and still be a trusted partner.
That was Dan Hutcherson, Vice Chair of Tech Insights. All eyes are on house prices as new credit controls take effect. The cost of owning your own home in Taiwan is so high, many young people are giving up on the dream. So could these new rules help cool down the sizzling market? John Van Trieste takes a look.
The central bank says there's been too much risky lending for real estate, and it's brought in new credit controls to rein in the housing market. With a few exceptions, there are no more loan repayment grace periods for people with more than one property in their name. And second home buyers will only be able to get loans up to half their new property's value. Market watchers predict fast results.
如果说呢有这个价格下修的情势呢，可能也会是这些二线地带为一个首波可能产生的状态。如果说我们可以看到这些成屋市场呢，或许呢在今年底之前呢，就已经可能可以看到一波降价的溢价的空间。
Taiwan's housing market is one of the least affordable in the world when prices are compared to what the average person makes. Housing justice advocates want the new controls made permanent to make the property ladder more accessible.
央行其实有一些信用管制，它其实是可以长期继续进行下去。的确比较担心的是说，央行就到时候就用，明明是撑不住，但是他却用说效果已经达成了，然后取消了这些相关的信用管制，又让房市就是往杠杆变高，然后继续炒作的方向发展。
But construction firms see a chance of tough times ahead. Smaller firms especially face ruin if people who've already signed up to buy extra properties suddenly find they can't pay for them.
希望政府能不能定一个落日条款，已经在进行中的签完约的呢，不受既往，给他们继续能够履行合约。
For now, market watchers are looking for signs of fewer transactions and more selling pressure. Signs a buyer's market may be on the way. Devin Tsai and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has dumped nearly 1 million metric tons of rubbish out in the open across the country, with more added daily. The government says it's a temporary solution while it refurbishes and builds more incinerators. But local communities are saying they've had enough of trash mountains in their neighborhoods. Rick Glatt reports.
Nearly every week, mother of three Peng Guizhi comes to this stream near her home in Judong, northern Taiwan, to test its waters. Using a science kit she got from a local school, Peng checks for dangerous chemicals and pollution leaching, sharing her findings online. She's worried the water is contaminated. Not far from here, the local government has disposed some 5,000 tons of garbage.
它的垃圾直接变成瀑布，在山坡体，而那底下其实是没有铺任何的雨衣布。然后我们会担心它的水这样日积月累的流到山里面，最后再汇集到我们所有人喝的这一个自来水的取水口，其实是很大的一个风险。
For more than 6 years, the 100,000 residents of Judong have lived in the shadow of this mountain of trash. Its stench hangs over the town, and the filth is breeding mosquitoes and other pests that are a risk to public health.
This garbage is piling on top of a landfill site that closed decades ago, but the local government says they have nowhere else to put it. The county is making more refuse than it can dispose of, and this is meant to be a temporary solution. But every day, 7 tons of garbage is being added to this pile.
Judong is not alone. There are more than 100 of these open-air garbage piles in communities across the country, totaling nearly 1 million metric tons of waste, polluting waterways, killing wildlife, and even catching fire. Taiwan recycles more than half of its rubbish and burns most of what's left in more than 20 incinerators across the country. Many of the facilities are more than 2 decades old and are due for a refurbishment. And while they are offline, the waste piles up. The national government has earmarked nearly $40 million to build more incinerators and to help local governments handle the current situation.
地方政府，它的掩埋场如果有裸露堆置这些垃圾的话，要提出它的改善计划，一定要最长，一定要在3年内完成改善。
Despite Taiwan's high recycling rate, environmental groups warn that the country is still generating an increasing amount of rubbish, particularly plastic. They say people here became overly dependent on single-use food and beverage containers during the pandemic, and that this bad habit is fueling the rising tide of trash.
在台湾，我觉得是更应该要加快去做所谓的重复使用。 或者是重复使用这样子的一个工作，对，那样才能够去真正的去解决我们从源头不断产生过多垃圾这样子的一个问题。
Even in Judong, where Taiwan's mountain of garbage quite literally looms large, Peng says it's hard to get people to face up to the scale of the environmental crisis.
我觉得它好像一个 cancer 一样，就是它会扩张，而且它会让你觉得这很正常。
Like much of Taiwan, Judong has prospered in recent years. The country's tech-based economy is booming and quality of life here is on the up. But with that prosperity has come more waste. And, as is evident here, if that's not managed responsibly, it can become more than just a blight on the local landscape. Chris Ma and Rick Lowett in Hsinchu County for TaiwanPlus.
Discussions of dementia often overlook the younger people affected by the condition. But working-age people with neurological impairments pose challenges for their families and Taiwan's workforce. As John Ventriest reports, about 14,000 young people in the country have younger-onset dementia, sparking discussion over how best to help them.
There's more to this cafe than meets the eye. Here, the servers all have dementia. But these are not the faces of dementia most customers are used to seeing as the population ages. These servers are all aged between 30 and 64. An International Alzheimer's Foundation says the odds of getting dementia in this younger age bracket are just 1 in 1,000, which in Taiwan has translated to about 14,000 people of working age with the condition, a possible financial disaster for those in their prime earning years. As awareness of younger or early onset dementia grows, so does discussion about how to help people who develop the condition. Some stress early detection and intervention, and there are care resources for those who need it, regardless of age. Cities like Taipei, where around 40,000 people live with dementia, are especially well equipped.
希望能够早期诊断、早期治疗，所以初筛很重要。初筛确诊，然后到就医、到资源的一个连结，所以我们台北市这边我们有11个失智共照中心。
But many people living with dementia are still able to do some form of work to help support themselves. And one NGO in particular wants to help patients who are able to get back into the workforce.
如果没有一个足够友善的职场的支持环境的时候，他其实多半还会面临到提早退休、被迫离职等等相关的一些情况。那这影响的可能是家庭里面的经济，然后还有甚至是就是结构，然后是子女的教养。
There are calls for a law to address the needs of people living with dementia, including these younger patients. But for now, local officials and NGOs are finding ways to at least ease the social impact of this debilitating condition. Ryan Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we take you to Barcelona, where the La Mercè Festival dazzled crowds with this fiery parade over the weekend. I'm Erika Liu. Take care and see you next time.